Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in. Another episode of Nerdology 101. We have, as usual, Big Swerve.
That's right. Big Swerve. Here to bring the weekly geekery to you.
Hey, what you sipping on, Irv?
Ah, this? This is the brew right here. This is the Left Hand Brewery's Nitro. It's a delicious, absolutely scrumptious, milk stout. Now, normally when you make a beer, you use sugar to go ahead and make that wealthy brew. They use lactose to create this smooth, creamy blend. America stout. Smooth, creamy, delicious. Look at that head. It's like someone poured alcohol into your favorite chocolate drink. In fact, it's so good you can go ahead and raw dog this brew by skipping the
Whoa, pause.
Baileys and go full Jameson on this drink.
Interesting. I would say that if nerds had a drink, that would be the drink for sure. It's not hard enough. I'm drinking
Yeah,
a
man.
black label here with some ginger ale.
Just look for the black box nitro. Settle for nothing else.
And today we have a special guest, Mr. Ricardo Gonzalez.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Represent. You want
Hey.
to tell people about yourself, man?
Yeah, sure. I'm Ricardo. I'm related to these two. As for
Gang, 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 gang.
Hey, gang, what's up? As far as why I'm here to talk gaming. I love games. I'm a game enthusiast. My day job, I'm a programmer over at Bethesda Game Studios. I say over, it's literally right here because I work from home these days. And yeah, I have a lot of fun making games, playing games, and I hope to bring some game knowledge to you guys, or share it anyway. I don't have a lot, really. I lost a lot. I'm old now. I don't remember as much as I used to.
Yeah. Talk about
Right.
underselling yourself. Allow me to make
Yeah.
it clear for
Dude,
the
he's-
audience who this guy is.
Yeah, he's totally downplaying
Yeah.
himself.
This is one of the guys at Bethesda Games. Bethesda Games.
Mhm.
That's right. You know the name. For anyone that
If you're a
follows
true
gaming,
gamer, you know Bethesda.
you know the name.
Stop front.
This is one of the genius minds behind one of the greatest RPGs of all time, Skyrim.
When you put it like that, it sounds very impressive.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so we're talking to one of the guys right there, the geniuses behind Skyrim, and that's all you need to know. But on this episode, we're going to talk about gaming.
And
And Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Yeah, who doesn't love Fallout?
Represent. Gang, gang.
And gang.
This is a serious dude, man.
I try. Yeah, I mean, I try to be. No,
This is the internet. Now is not the
He's-
time for humble brag.
Yeah, he's totally humble, dude. When I called him, I was like, "Hey, man, would you mind doing the podcast?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah,
course.
it's a nerd podcast." But he's like, "Yeah, I don't know how much I can contribute to that." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're like easily on a bad day, you're a level 8 nerd, easily."
I mean, that is true. Yeah, but to myself, I judge myself as a level 1, 2 sometimes. But I'm glad.
So that begs the question, right? I've been asking everybody this because I find that everybody has a different answer.
Okay.
What is a nerd?
What is a nerd? A nerd, to me, is someone who, I would say, someone who just to themselves. I'm not saying they evaluate. They see it's better, but to themselves, they have they take the mental and they sort of put it on a bit of a pedestal, and like that's their go-to, right? Like, I'm a nerd because when I was growing up, I wasn't particularly physically adept or socially adept, so all I really had left was a rich inner life and sitting down and playing SNES for like literally 8 hours at a stretch. And I'm a nerd because of that, I guess.
Right on, man. And how old are you anyway?
That's a good question. I think right now I'm 38. I'm going to be 39 this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Next year is the big 4-0.
So
I
you're
know
only
that.
Wow.
2 years behind me.
Yeah. Thereabouts,
Right
yeah.
on.
So
Yeah.
That 2 years difference is because you keep referencing SNES. I noticed that when we were talking earlier.
yeah.
So,
So I would
those
say,
2 years made the big difference because most my nostalgia comes from NES.
I mean, I had an NES, and that's where I started. Like, that was my first system, and I played it from when I was like 5 all the way until the SNES came out when I was more like 10. But I guess SNES, like, that's where the nostalgia comes, because that's where you really have the stamina to sort of sit down for a stretch and play games like Link to the Past and then like Final Fantasy 3 for like hours at a time, and then
Right.
that's what I sort of reference back on.
This is before all the CD stuff, before we started putting everything on DVD,
they were cartridges.
Then Blu-rays,
laser
cartridges. Speaking of cartridges,
zip drives, yeah.
We do need to do a good old fashioned
we'll reiterate.
Black History Month. Yeah, good Black History Month shout out. When it comes up.
Okay, right on.
Because as we all know, the father of.
I don't know. Educate me. I'm curious. What is this?
Oh, it'll come up. We'll bring it up.
All right,
History Month shout out.
I'm ready. Born ready.
All right.
You want to hit him with that now, Nelson?
Give it to me. I'm looking it up. This sounds familiar. Is this the history of the cartridge?
I posted it on the group, by the way.
Yeah, it's
follow our group, dude.
Bring it up, host. I need a picture to go with it.
This is the problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this thing the full Jameson next round.
That's just dry. It's straight up nitro. There's nothing in it.
Basically what it is with brews like this, milk stouts, for anyone that wants to know. Okay, so again, when you're making beer, use sugar. They use lactose, which is the milk sugar.
Right.
And what that does is it takes that beer, that stout, it makes it creamy. It really is like someone dropped an alcohol in your favorite malt, in your malt milkshake. It's the $5 milkshake, but it really does have alcohol in it.
Okay, no, which is good.
Yeah, little reference there.
All right,
here we go, you film nerds out there.
All right, ladies and germs. Like I said, follow our group on Facebook, and you'll get little factoids, nerd factoids all the time. But one that we had posted for Black History was Gerald Anderson Jerry Lawson, December 1st, 1940 to April 9th, 2011, was an American electronic engineer. He is known for his work in designing the Fairchild Channel F video game console, as well as leading the team that pioneered the commercial video game cartridge. He has been dubbed by some as the father of modern gaming.
Yes, he has, because the cartridges are going back to my day. When the Fairchild machine was made, all right, when that bad boy was put out, it played one game. I'm sure you've seen all the videos about it. They got the two little sticks bouncing the ball like some kind of little tennis racquetball thing.
Yeah, Mario
had
Tennis.
Nothing. Yeah. Well, before that, before Mario Tennis.
Sure.
Yeah, so they had the little ball bouncing back and forth, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be more. So he led the team, and they engineered the gaming cartridge. Ah, you genius, you. So that's the one that came in. So your SNES, Ricky, Nelson's going, that little bad boy. That
bing,
was
bing,
that's all it did.
Bing.
Bing, bing. Yeah. But then he came out the gaming cartridge, and that gave us games like they gave us all the little Pac-Man games. We had the Atari. For anyone who's, I'm going to go all the way back. I'm not giving my, I'm going to give my age away. Yeah, there it is. The Atari Entertainment
dog. You got that
system.
Joystick, baby.
Yeah, that joystick.
That's actually a fancy one, man. It's got all the little buttons on the side.
There's a weird hexagonal sort of sticks there.
Yeah, that one. That's for the fancy people.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we had, the cartridges back then. Of course, for anyone who had the Atari 2600, this was also your first lesson in how the disappointment, just like finding out Santa Claus, wasn't real. This is the one that really disappointed you in how much money impacts video games. I'm about to go there because we Atari 26 people got to experience the worst game ever made. What game? E.T., the extraterrestrial. Oh, we loved the movie when we were kids, but when you bought that game, it went nowhere. It was just, You know, ET sometimes wouldn't even stop walking across the screen over and over and
I've
over.
had that happen.
There was a goal in the game, apparently, but you'll never
Yeah.
reach it because the
Atari
game was only
games.
half developed.
I mean, Atari games, like, I don't know, for its time, it was pretty dope, dog. Like, I played
Oh, it
Kangaroo,
was, but
Donkey Kong.
they got you with ET.
Mind
Do you know
you,
how well that game sold? Everybody had one.
what did they rush it or something?
Who knows? But it had the ET name on it, so
Anyway,
obviously it was going to sell.
so that brings us to Atari.
It was the Ovaltine of
Mario Bros. The original.
Mario, the
No.
original.
Not Super.
There it is.
Before they were super,
They were just
They were
bros.
just bros. Yeah,
they
just
were
bros.
just
A couple
the
of plumbers
Mario
from Brooklyn
Yeah.
trying to
Okay,
get to those pipes.
And this was the gameplay here, dude. What?
Interesting. I've never seen it on the Atari. I've played it on the
Fire.
NES, but this
Fire.
is interesting. Yep. Buck. So was that Nintendo?
And then-
Nintendo. Yep.
Nintendo came out with their own Mario Brothers.
Yep.
So they weren't super yet.
Not yet. No, this is the OG. Yes, I played this one.
Yeah.
Look at that curve. Look at the curve of Mario. Look at those Beziers going.
Look how far they came.
Exactly. You actually have. Yeah.
Whoa! Mind blowing. Holy
Those
shit.
fellas. This is why the
Yeah.
NES caught on
So
after
real.
there's a great market crash back in the 80s. And Atari and all of them went, and SNES came in and saved the day.
Is that what happened for real?
Yeah. Speaking
tell.
to like the ET debacle, like back then, you know, you had your Coleco, you had your Ataris, you had television, and they all like kind of spit out just a bunch of, I don't want to say garbageware, but quality control wasn't nearly where it is today. You know, like
It wasn't.
games just kind of came out and it was like trying to make a quick buck, and eventually the public caught on and they're like, oh, okay, these aren't very good. They aren't very well made. And the market crashed and a lot of companies sort of like lost their shirts. And it was around then that Nintendo tried to market their Famicom console in the US. They called it Nintendo. And it really caught on, not just because it was a way step up of quality, but they introduced the famous D-pad with the two-button B&A, which was just like a way better sort of interface for the whole system. And that is how they sort of cemented their first real foothold in the US, and they've never let go, really. So yeah, that's where it started, right there.
And there it is.
Speaking of cartridges, I can never, after like the first year, can never get cartridges to work on that thing anymore. You have to,
How it is, man. Everybody knows
Now
that.
we all know that's not so. Didn't actually do anything.
of course,
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it got rid of some
Well,
dust.
you do that, and then you
Man.
click it in. You can't just
Yeah.
You
You don't push it in all the way. You just kind of so it hits the edge, and then you damn,
This guy knows.
damn a couple times.
That's how you get it. To work. That or the game.
That's
cheat.
like
You put
kicking
it
the
into
car.
it.
That's like kicking the car to turn it on.
It works.
And when all else failed, you would just put a cartridge on top of that motherfucker to just kind of hold it down a bit.
This is the deep night. I've never tried that.
Yeah,
That's
this-
Oh yeah,
This is the logic that we were running with as kids.
yeah, dude. This is what happens when you put like an expensive piece of equipment around children
And just
and it
leave it
doesn't
there.
work properly.
And it doesn't work properly. We will find a way.
Yeah,
must find a way.
It
We'll
made
break it.
sense at the time.
We'll break it more or get it to work.
or
Mhm.
get it working.
Like we didn't understand the science of it, but it just worked.
Right, yes. There's something in there that wasn't happening. It's like,
Yeah.
It seems to work. I saw my friend do it.
I mean,
Is
that's
this-
what it was. Because when you were playing, like, and sometimes you would get those little glitches.
Yeah.
Like if you just tapped it, like when you opened the little flap and you just tapped it, shit would happen, right?
Mhm.
So that was the idea behind it. Like,
Man, like
maybe
cavemen
if
trying to
I
understand.
push it down some more, you know?
Mhm.
Yep. There's it's one of the things, but that just shows the power of the Nintendo phenomenon when it came in.
Mhm.
If you were a kid growing up at that time, oh my God, there was the
Hey, Ivan says Nolan Bushnell.
That was a true mastermind.
yes,
Okay, who was that?
It's Wikipedia time.
Wikipedia.
Right? Without him, video game craze would have never happened. Arcades were what made people want
I
that
see what you're saying.
entertainment at home. On
Yeah,
a
okay.
scale.
That would be
That is true.
arcades.
Interest.
That's where it started, though. It
Yeah, that's where
was
it started
marketed
with
as a
arcades.
home arcade system. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true, man. Because a lot of people don't remember that. But like, I was a kid, I barely remember it. But people people used to go to arcades. Like arcades were a thing.
Yeah.
Like it was a place where all the video games were at,
Mhm.
and it was like it was like a nightclub for
But for
nerds.
Kids.
Yeah.
It was a nightclub for kids.
Right.
Not just kids, bro. Like there
Nerds,
were
geeks,
fucking
all of them.
yeah.
There were everybody in there anyway. Yeah, and sometimes when you're talking about games, yes. So
I have
let's
to
not
inject
confuse
Tron
things.
there, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Great movie.
Hey man, you wore that
Hulk.
last week, dog. Man, keep it fresh, keep it funky. Look, I got my Super Mario.
I have multiples.
I got my Super Mario
Like a
eating a
geek
mushroom.
Oh my god. Ready?
Sure.
Yeah, I got Mega Man.
snap.
I'm ready.
Oh, Mega Man.
Good to go.
All right. Now, this brings us over. Yeah, Mega
The
Man.
man himself.
Classic.
Mega Man.
Classic game. But let's not overlook it. Seeing as how we've brought in.
I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean.
It's Head the
Head.
Arcadey Crate. Head the Arcadey Crate. Take
What?
it. Take it, Irving. You know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's the guy that created the arcades, basically.
All right.
For those of us in the DMV, we called it Timeout. That's the name of the place. It was called
Yep.
Timeout.
I know time
And,
out.
Ours was Golden Dome or
The
something.
Golden Dome.
Correct me, PG County people.
I do know time. I've been to a couple timeouts. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, they're that's where you went there to play video
Or
games.
Flynn's. Flynn's was a popular one.
Flint's Arcade. I've never been to Flint's, but yeah. So we went to go
And,
play. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so you went there. You played the video games. They had the team ups, the side scrollers. The lateral scrolling games.
TMT
Like,
2.
You're getting ahead of me,
Yeah,
dude.
TMNT,
Yep.
TMNT 2,
You're getting ahead
the
of me.
X-Men, the 80s,
X-Men. Yeah.
80s
It's like
X-Men.
Garage.
Yeah,
Ah, here we go.
He created the arcade.
yes.
There it is.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let's
there
go
you go.
back.
Head the
Had
arcade.
the arcade create.
The Arcady Kriat.
Kriot. Yeah.
Powerful
Enough
stuff.
with that pig
I
Latin.
like
He's hitting us with the pig Latin.
I love it.
This motherfucker, dog.
Yeah. So
All right, hold
Yeah.
on, man. You're getting ahead. You're getting ahead, man.
We're
So, look,
excited.
we were
Okay.
here.
We were here.
We
Well,
were
technically,
here.
the arcades were back, but yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Fair enough. Let me. Jump
people
back.
bought the NES because they wanted to see those arcade games, the little the little jumping puzzle games.
This was
and
the
platforms.
arcade.
Galaga.
Yes. Galaga.
Don't.
Don't forget Centipede.
Yep. They still have scores. When you went home and you had the score, you had no idea why you were getting the score. But that was why, because you were trying to get on the boards in the arcade.
Yep. Of
That's
course,
the game is so hard. So you spend the
you could also let's not forget Frogger.
Frogger.
Yeah. Hey, Frogger was the shit, dude.
Yep.
I love Frogger.
Too
I like
bad
those-
George Constanza's no longer the high scorekeeper.
Not after that poor incident.
Dude, I love those like timing games. You know what I'm saying? Where you gotta like, just time it right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Ah, I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, that's what Centipede and everything, Centipede, Space Invaders
Yeah,
was all
Space
about. It was
Invaders
about
was dope.
timing it, getting there, and it will move faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
there
That's pretty
was no
much every
end.
game. I mean,
That's
they got
a bug, by the way.
repetitive. What was that?
It didn't end.
Space Invaders speeding up, that was a bug, by the way. They didn't mean to intend it to speed up, but they realized that by rendering less pixels on the screen as you kill more enemies, it went faster, and then it just went with it. It's like, this is great. We actually love this. And it just left it in.
And there you
Yeah,
go.
it just became
And
repetitive.
it's magic.
It's like every game
That's-
was just
that
like the
magic.
same
That's
level.
what you look for.
Every game was the same level, just faster.
Yeah, just faster.
Eh.
And that's how they kept it going. And
Eventually,
then-
we would get adventure.
Yes.
But anyway,
So
to that.
this is where what you would call jumping puzzle games.
Platformers. Yep.
Yeah, the little platform jumping games, whether you're talking about Joust, which by the way which was a big arcade, but never actually got a solid home
or
release.
Ice climbers.
Well, if you're gonna bring that, then you have to bring in Dig Dug. Thank you.
Dig Dug's not a platformer, though. Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus,
No,
yes.
Kid Icarus was dope.
Right.
Kid Icarus was great. And if I'm going to move over to the next one, this is when you started first having.
Hold on. Ivan says, time out.
So all the Street Fighter.
all the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
We're about to get there. We're about to get there.
Whooping ass every fucking time I was there.
Get over here. It's true.
Them fools would be on the same quarter for hours.
Yep.
LOL.
Yeah. We're about to get there. So we went.
So get there, my man.
Get there. Take us there, man.
All right. Let's go ahead. So after this, you had, of course, other games.
Speed it up, or you'll get this guy.
Oh no. We're at green.
So you get Dig Dug, you get all those jumping games. And then Nintendo got a little bit further with games like, well, since you were here, Ricky, let's start with the first RPG game ever, Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Yeah, where have you been, Ricky?
I mean,
Legend of Zelda.
Actually, I call this an adventure game, but yeah, that's just some.
Okay, hold on.
I get what you're saying.
So, actually, that was a question I wanted to get to, because I never was into RPG video games.
That was my bread and butter.
I was into RPG, but like real RPG, right?
Like the rocket propelled grenades.
No, like paper and dice.
Oh, you did
you
good.
can thank me for that.
D&D.
Riffs.
So RPG video games for me was like, like I'll just roll dice.
Mm-hmm.
Not to condescend it,
No.
But anyway, so for my non-RPG video game brain, I always thought Zelda was like the first one. But I wanted to ask you that. What would you consider the first RPG?
I would, and don't take my word for it. I'm a fellow nerd 101. But what I classify as an RPG,
being modest,
a role-playing game is similar to D&D. You gain levels, right? You have the same characters that get more powerful over time. Mm-hmm. Technically, that's Link in Legend of Zelda, but he doesn't gain any XP, right? He doesn't gain any levels, right? He gets different items, right?
He gains more health too.
He gains more health.
Okay. It's similar to Metroid.
His sword upgrades.
Yes, Metroid. Yo, shout out.
We're about to go there. Metroid. That was
whoa, big swerve. Let the man finish.
I was just gonna say, so like for me, like stuff like Dragon Quest, stuff like Final Fantasy, which was like I think it's the first game I got for the NES, is like you have this singular guy starts at level 1 and you grind and you level him up. He has XP. He goes and he buys more weapons. That's I guess a traditional RPG that I call, I guess, and then the spiritual successor these days is your Final Fantasy VII remakes, or like Final Fantasy. I think we're up to like 15 at this point, and various other ones.
7 remakes. Yeah.
Yes. I never played the original or the remake. Oh. I was on this side of the divide. I stopped at Final Fantasy VI, which is Final Fantasy 3, and then I never got a PlayStation. So that's where I in the 90s, that's where I diverged.
Okay.
I never made that crossing until later in life. Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, Final Fantasy VII really was the only reason to get a PlayStation at that point. There was a little bit of a drought. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that.
Crash Bandicoot?
Again, the Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII brought in people that weren't into RPG gaming. Most people never even heard of Final Fantasy.
That's the OG. Yes,
that's the OG right there. Mm-hmm. Nintendo. My favorite will always remain Zelda. Legend of Zelda was classic.
No, Zelda is great. Yeah.
It was epic. It was long.
Yeah. Especially for because back then, you had a cartridge, you had maybe so many megabytes that could fit in that thing, and different people did different things with it. You can do Mario Bros, where you have just a side-scrolling 2D that's printed directly in memory, or
So let's. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I just want to go into that a little.
Yeah.
Bit. So as far as gaming goes, originally we had this, right?
Right.
It's sort of this one screen, and then
Yeah, you're playing around with just the screen, basically.
Yeah. And then
you get this.
It was sort of like side scrolling, where you could just
go again. Platform.
Right?
Yeah. So this is when they become Super
Mario Bros. Exactly. They get bigger. They get the mushrooms and the fire flowers and 2, which is 2's different.
Yeah, man. This is where he eats the mushroom.
This is where he first partakes of the mushroom.
And stuff happens.
Stuff happens. Bowser happens. We get Princess Peach.
Bowser happens. Yes, we get Princess
Toadstool.
Peach. Toadstool.
But yeah, that's the first time you take this box and suddenly you scroll right and you just keep on going and suddenly you're going underground and suddenly there's secrets and suddenly it's a whole open world in this very tiny box.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Zelda
What a
did the same
great
thing,
game, dude.
but in
What a
different
great
way.
game. Yeah, man.
Remains. Yeah. I don't know if you know remember the Game & Watches used to come like that big or like black and white Game & Watch?
Yes.
Little like the little tiger hand.
Tiger LCD games.
Yep.
Yeah.
My son has a Game & Watch. It's literally about that big, and it has the entirety of Super Mario 1 on it in full color. And I'm just like, this is very strange to me. I'm playing it like this very tiny thing with my giant man hands.
You know what's really crazy about that, dude, is like I have an Xbox and we have like every Nintendo and Super Nintendo game on there. And me, my wife, and my kids started playing all these games. Dude, no bullshit. Like the muscle memory is
it still there? You still got it?
Insane, dude. Like I'm like running across the levels full speed, just bing, 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 all the way to the flag. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's been like 30 years.
It's the stuff that lives up here that
it's the stuff that comes in.
You can't remember your phone number or to do your taxes, but I got World 2-3.
Because that stuff doesn't matter. Taxes don't matter, dude.
Okay.
Saving the goddamn princess, dude. Come on.
That matters.
Say man, we got real things to do here. We got a whole kingdom to save.
That's a purpose. I have a purpose.
You ever tried to do a Hadouken, a quarter circle on a D-pad? Tears up your thumb.
Oh yeah, and I'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers, man. What a game series, man.
Dude, but look, just the evolution of like I got this little.
Yep, that's the guy. I know
just
that guy.
The evolution of Mario alone was crazy. I mean, you know how you had, me and Ricky were talking about this earlier, how like if, from Mega Man 1 to 2, there was a bit of a difference, 2 to 3, a little bit, but then 4, 5, 6, like not much difference, right? But Mario, like with everything except for 2, okay? It was just each game was a leaps and bounds from the previous.
He was the star. I mean, think about
it. This to this, the whole gameplay was different.
They pushed the envelope every time.
He was the guy.
Super Mario 2, it was just Super Mario with better graphics.
It was
Mario 3.
Yeah.
But Mario 3, dog, this motherfucker, he went up.
He could fly.
Right. It wasn't enough that we did side scrolling. It was like, nah, we got to do vertical scrolling.
Dude, we got to do vertical. We got to go.
You remember the Wizard, the movie The Wizard? Where
the Wizard, yes.
The movie The Wizard, where he plays Mario 3 at the end, before it had even come out, and my 7-year-old...
The Wizard. That's the one with the glove. That's right.
Yeah, it's so
I almost forgot that. Yeah.
I saw it in theaters. I lost my mind, and it's all I could talk about until my birthday. It's like that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the cultural impact of Mario.
I want a glove.
Forget McGruff, the crime dog, man. We had the head-knocking Italian telling us mushrooms are good.
Hey, it's me, Mario. What's up?
Oh, snap. John Barrera, good vibes. Thanks for tuning in, homie.
Thanks for tuning in. Good vibes. Right back to you, Barrera.
Look. We're not getting into PCs too much.
It's a little
chill out. We're half an hour in. We have half an hour left, and we haven't left Nintendo yet.
That's fair. Okay,
relax. But I gotta hold it down for the Gen Xers, man. That's why they're tuning in, dude.
We're a dying breed, yeah.
Yeah, Gen Xers and their nostalgia. Gotta feed them.
Yeah, I gotta feed it.
They get cranky.
Yeah, they're like,
I don't know what we're getting.
Fuck that new shit. Fuck that new shit. All right, so let's move on. Anyway. So Super Mario 3, and then I wanted to talk about Metroid because that was my fucking favorite.
Metroid or Super Metroid? Where'd you roll?
Metroid.
Metroid. Yeah.
Super Metroid.
Super Metroid, like is
Super Metroid.
That's where
that is the. Oh yeah, it was perfection.
Oh, I mean, this was great, but yeah.
Don't condescend.
I'm not condescending, but like it's a similar thing to where like
you did that thing where it was like, Oh yeah. It was good.
That was me trying to remember Metroid.
Look,
'cause I haven't played it forever.
Metroid was great. Do not get me wrong. Metroid was great.
Metroid was fucking groundbreaking, dude.
I'm
Like,
about to go there.
the fucking dude, like the adventure to that, like, you know what I liked about it? That, like, okay, when you played Mario, you had to go right. You had some options. You could go down the pipe, whatever, but then it would put you right back at that long corridor, right? Metroid was pretty much like, you could go anywhere you want, man, but you might do it out of order, or it might help you. I don't know. So you really did have this sense of being lost in an unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, you get lost in Metroid really.
Dude, I got lost.
You can get lost in Metroid.
Dude, you could get trapped.
Yeah,
I got trapped one time.
Like in Norfair, or like Great, or
dude, I fell down that shaft and I spent days using the little fucking roly-poly bombs trying to like climb up the
get out of there,
bricks that would disappear and reappear. Bro, I spent days. Finally, man, I had to reset and start over. Which, look, I'm sorry. Look,
before password.
I'm going to give myself the yellow meter here, okay? Because I want to nerd out on this real quick. I've noticed that, and I'm not trying to shit on millennials or anything like that, but I am shitting on millennials. Like, I think that like video games, like created millennials. All right, like hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. Like, our video games, like the example that I just gave you, is like it was a lesson in life. Look, sometimes you're gonna do some shit, and it was all for nothing, and you gotta fucking start over, asshole. Fuck your feelings. You're starting over from the fucking beginning. Fuck you, right? But then they started making video games where you had save points, and like there were video games where like you just infinitely died and respawned right where you left off. It was like, what the fuck? No, where's the failure? Where's the agony of defeat?
Well, talk to some Ninja Gaiden players. They'll tell you all about that.
Sure, that's where you reintroduce the difficulty there.
That's where you reintroduce the difficulty. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. There's quite nothing like Ninja Gaiden. You're up at the boss, and he literally one-shots you. In fact, that was the whole game. The bosses would literally one-shot you. You didn't get to start over before the boss. You didn't get to start over at the halfway. No, you had to do the whole thing all over again.
That's why you got Dark Souls these days. You got
Dark Souls, another one.
You're craving that where you just go in and you're punished for your own particular knowledge in the game.
Yeah, to allow me to explain this for the geeks, for people who are getting into geekery.
I'm getting away from nerdery and going into geekery. So
I'm going to geekery. As hard as
that's a whole nother podcast. Dude.
As hard as classic games are, Dark Souls did it by tapping into that little nerve ending, by making it so that if you fail, when you come back, you're weaker. The more you fail, the harder the repeat.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. It was addictive. You're on there on your 8th try. It's like, you're gonna you might as well start all over. But oh no. That can-do attitude just comes right in, and you're ready to take on any challenge.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, that's like essential for growing up, man, is the agony of defeat and then the perseverance, and finally succeeding. It's like that tastes so much better, dog.
Yes, it does.
So much better.
Of course, you could do that, or you could just be a Redskins fan.
Shots fired.
You can be a Redskins fan. I am. I know the agony of defeat. So victory tastes that much sweeter. When we have one.
That's what I was gonna say, dude. All right. So let's move on here. Ivan said Castlevania.
There we go. That's another one. Oh my God.
Was the best adventure game ever made. It was the total package.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Castlevania was great, but Castlevania 2 Castlevania 2 took it to another level. In fact, those are the two games I'm going to say that if you're
Oh shit,
really
John
going to step,
Barrera. John Barrera said, "Hail to the Redskins." They're not the Redskins anymore, buddy.
It's true. Their football team.
they're just
They're
the
a football
skins.
team.
Just the skin. We're all just
Just the
skins.
skins. Just the skins. Just because our owner's too cheap.
All
Yep,
right,
there it is.
That's
7
classic.
months.
Castlevania was
classic.
dope as shit, man.
Castlevania was awesome.
It was creepy.
Yeah, it
pretty
had its
fucking
own
creepy.
thing. You never knew, what was coming around the corner.
And
the bosses were fantastic.
Ivan also mentioned Ghosts and Ghouls, which was like
Ghosts and Ghouls
kind of
was
like
great.
a kid spin-off of Castlevania. Not really, but sort
How
of.
about the night jumper?
You know what was great about Ghosts and Ghouls or Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins. What was great about that is it had that very kind of how can I say this? That Monty Python comedy to it. It was very dry humor. You go in there all heavied and armored up. Sure enough, as you proceed in the game, you get whacked out. Next thing you know, you're walking around with a helmet and just your boxers.
Your hard underwear box. Yep. Point. Okay, sign. Well taken.
Yeah, that Ghosts and Goblins is great for that. It was hilarious. You didn't feel bad about dying because it was funny. Half the time you were laughing your butt off. And so, it's sort of bringing it into what you can do with games. But if there's two games I'm going to say that made the bridge for NES to SNES, we're going to get into that right now. Super Nintendo.
Right.
Super Nintendo did that whole multicolor. They did the whole zoom away.
Have graphics for Super Nintendo. Anyway.
Yeah, they had graphics that zoomed in and zoomed out. First game that took big hits did great use of it was Contra. There was originally Contra 2, Super Contra.
Okay, yeah.
You had Contra.
Get it correct, son, because the original
Contra was NES
with a knockoff Schwarzenegger and a knockoff Rambo.
Yes. So then you had
shout
Super
out to
Contra
also for doing the fucking shit. Ricky, help me. What's the vanishing point perspective?
Yes, the vanishing point. The zoom in, zoom out.
The back moves, and this moves at a different speed.
That's what you were talking
about.
Yeah, they had enemies that would drop in from the larger point. They would land right in there.
Yep.
And the thing that I loved about Contra 2 is it stole the Predator soundtrack.
Did it? For that.
Play the game.
I've never.
You'll hear the Predator soundtrack, which fitted perfectly.
I was a Link to the Past man when I first got my SNES. Link to the Past, which is basically, it did what Zelda did for the regular Nintendo. It broke it out. You had a giant world and then you had a whole set. Once you got all the way through the light world, you got the dark world, and then you have to go through another 8 dungeons, and it's just this giant, even to this day, sprawling adventure that you could just go and explore.
The SNES really did bring in a lot of games.
Yes,
my favorites are always going to be again, the games are just huge in their scope. Again, because it had more memory. So when you got Super Metroid, you didn't just have a difficult, nearly endless puzzle. It took that puzzle and turned it into a saga. I mean, who can remember the near anime quality of the opening scenes? Then having Samus come right in. See, if you beat the first Super Metroid, you got, like most video game endings, they were simple. You got to have Samus take her helmet off. It's like, oh my God, it's a woman. It's not a guy. It's a woman.
Hey, shout out. Next month is
Is it Women's History Month? No.
Women's History Month. I'm sorry, I'm being interrupted. Yes, Logan. Can I help you, sir?
You see the red light. You know we're live.
Yes, we are live right now. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Parenthood, I get it.
Okay, you sure you don't want to come in and chime in on video games? He's a gamer, by the way.
He's a gamer. We do live in society. He is a gamer.
Yes, he is. He is a gamer.
We were just talking about Metroid. Anyway, at this point, you're interrupting. Goodbye, sir. All right.
I said good day.
I said good day. Yeah, so yeah, then you got Super Metroid, and Super Metroid was an epic. It needed the save points. That is how long and big the game was, and there was storylines, and you had bosses that
Maps.
would take up multiple parts of the puzzle.
Oh yeah.
So you would be fighting the boss, hitting them in the belly. In one, they had to jump all the way to the puzzle, get to the top to fight the enemy's head.
Yep.
You hit him in the head. It brought in the ice beam, the multiple different kinds of weapons, all of that. It was just fantastic. How great was Super Metroid?
Very great.
So great that when it came out,
How great was it?
How great was it? So great that when its sequels appeared, in whether the N64 or any of the other versions of Nintendo,
GameCube.
they were lesser sequels simply because they
Metroid
got
Prime?
rid of
Metroid Prime was not a lesser sequel.
because they got rid of the jumping puzzle aspect. Now, Metroid Prime was fantastic. I'm not going to deny that. They
Mhm.
finally figured out, how are we going to bring it in? But when they first brought in, when Metroid hit CD or Metroid hit the N64, oh my God, you got rid of the jumping puzzle aspect. So disappointing.
They
So
definitely
disappointing.
after Metroid Prime 2, and then they started going to the 3DS, and then it got a little sort of samey, and then you lost some of the magic of the Metroidvania.
Yeah.
And
that's where it comes in. Now Metroid is just Samus is just the character you want in, Smash Brothers.
Smash Bros. No one wants Samus. She has a weird hitbox and she can't hit anything. It's
Now, hold on. Let's talk about the aesthetic.
Hey, man.
Aesthetic. I always play Pikachu.
Hey, that was-
on
that
Smash
was-
Brothers.
Oh, you're a Pikachu man. Okay,
Yeah.
That was
we're done here.
Hey, that was
What's wrong? You don't like getting shocked?
That was like an incentive of Metroid on Nintendo was, oh shit, she'll take her bikini off.
You got to put in
I
Justin
beat it
Bailey.
one more time.
Justin Bailey's the password. You put it in, and she starts off suitless, and you got the ice beam. That's how you go. That's a little
Yeah.
spoiler alert for anyone who's playing Metroid on the
Yeah.
still
Oh, the ice pick.
the ice beam with the little wave.
No, I was thinking ice pick, but that's a whole other.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
That's
Was
different.
yeah, dude. That's a good one.
Yep. Metroid is very good. I'm still waiting for Metroid Prime 3. I think 3 is the next one. I think that's where they stopped. But yeah,
All right.
I'm all about Metroid Prime.
No, yeah,
we
Metroid.
also
Metroid
had,
Prime got it right. Metroid Prime finally got it right.
Look, we had Super Mario World,
Yep.
which was changed the way you played it a bit. These are kind of in a way save points.
At save points, they had a giant world you could go through that sort of reacted to you. Like this is one of the first where you had like weird secret paths. Like Mario 3 had like the warp. You had a warp whistle. That was it. Like this one had like different ways to go through it. Mario Kart, I was not big on Mario Kart because I had no one to play with. I had no one to play with ever. So I'm not going to play by myself Mario Kart.
Right. Mario Kart was the shit.
Mario
But
Kart
along
was
those
where you had to
lines
gather everybody.
Of
in
racing.
F-Zero.
F-Zero.
Zero was the shit.
Yes.
How about this one, dude? How about this shitty attempt?
With the Super FX ship, Star Fox.
Yeah, that was the
What?
Do a barrel roll. Yep.
What?
okay.
This was the height of the graphics at the time.
Yes.
You have to realize.
And the aliens.
Well, anyway, yeah. That was the dialogue.
Contra was great, but the sense of loss was non-existent with up down.
Oh, okay. I was just about to bring that up.
A-B start. Yep.
You want to talk about the you want to
Cheat
talk
codes.
about the muscle memory? A, B, up, down, left, right, B, A start, go in, stand on one hand and jump out the window with a blazing ball of fire. It was all there. It was all about the cheat codes, unlimited lives, everything else. But if you really want to talk about when Super Nintendo made the big crossover, when you want to talk about graphics, gaming, when it had, like I said, Super Metroid, great. All of those. But when it brought it in,
Zombies Hate My Neighbors.
no.
Busby.
No.
Okay.
No.
You're annoyed.
Everybody at this point, no. When people went to those arcades, like the previous poster said, Ivan there, yeah, people went in to play the fighting games. And at this point, Street Fighter was
True.
king.
True.
Now, for those who remember Fighting Street, that was the original one, where Ryu had
shit.
red hair and just threw in, and you were on a little rolling ball to control it. But Street Fighter, at this point, the arcade games, graphics could be matched with the Super Nintendo. See, arcades had the better graphics with the NES, the regular one. So you didn't walk away from arcades. But when Super Nintendo came out, you could match the arcades. And sure enough, the game that changed it all, Street Fighter.
Yeah, man.
2, right?
No, yeah, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
When it
Hey,
came
that
in,
fucking
Street
game was
Fighter 2,
amazing, dude.
that just brought it in. You finally had the game direct from the arcade at home. Street Fighter game is the one that kept those people going in and plunking in quarters, and you had people, who were there for bragging rights. This
and
created
who was the competitor, dude.
it created
Mortal
a
Kombat.
competitor, and it came in.
That came a
People
little
would
later,
walk in the timeout to gather around the Street Fighter consoles and just watch, go in and just see, who was going to take it, Of course, they always threw in their hands as soon as the little Asian kid came in. It was like, it's over.
Damn, that's racist.
That's not racist. That's
Irving's views do not represent the podcast. Throw that out there.
Hold on.
We accept all Asians, all kinds.
Hold on.
All Chinamen are welcome.
I can't believe you just said that. Anyway, so
Nintendo Power was enough.
Now you're playing with Power.
Yeah, man. I hated the kids that had Nintendo Power. It's like because they knew. Yeah, it's you. I know. Nah, man. I had a neighbor who had Nintendo Power, and it sucked because I looked forward to playing games, and then the game would come out, and nobody would get a turn because this motherfucker knew exactly what to do. Right? There was no discovery.
You know what it was? You know what made Nintendo Power big? It was the big magazine that explained to you what the big games are coming out. And everyone wanted to know. Look, let's face it. Back then, the middle class wasn't exactly like, glamorous. It just had enough to pay a home. So you had to budget what was coming out. So you wanted to know what the game had before you went into it.
Negative.
Now, Nintendo Power would give you tips and tricks. But I'll be honest. The game magazine that I went with was GameScore, Gamer, all of them. And those game magazines gave you their scores. So they could tell you if there were games that were any good. Of course, you can always hack on them for giving games like Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
Great reviews.
Your lovable basketball star gets lost in a strange Earth-ass world and needs to fight his way out.
Everything was Shaq. Shaq Attack. Shaq Fu. The rap record. Everyone.
We've all had the fantasy of doing kung fu with Shaq.
Can we stray away from consoles really quick? I just wanted to.
Can we stick with Shaq? But okay, continue. No, yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Brace yourselves.
Braced
for the game changer.
Yeah. Literally. Doom. I thought we were staying away from PC, but this was on the SNES. True.
Was it?
There was a port to it, yeah. But Doom was this definitely.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Was this the first person shooter?
It was the first good one.
I think you're right. I don't
listen.
I want to say no.
And I want to defend this screenshot here. Okay. Because I know to people now who play, say, PUBG or Call of Duty, that this looks shitty. But 2 points. This is the best we had. And it wasn't this bad when shit was actually moving around.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a fucking still shot.
What really set Doom apart from something like Wolfenstein, which I think came slightly before this, was
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. Is the controls were on point. Like the turning and the radius, like trying to do that with a PC and a mouse, they were one of the first that got it like super duper tight and right, and it felt great. And all the guns had really good feedback. You had your small pistol, you had your AK, and the rocket propelled.
Hence my
be a
earlier
G.
statement still stands. Was Doom the first? No,
It's the first that
but
got it
it
right.
was the first
All
good
right.
one.
What about
And
GoldenEye.
oh
GoldenEye?
yeah, GoldenEye.
GoldenEye did it pretty good.
GoldenEye was
Fuck with it.
amazing for its time. Let's just start.
Yeah, dude.
Let's just start. I'm not a first person shooter guy, but that game was fun.
Fred Savage would disagree with you guys, by the way.
We're not interested in his opinions.
Well, he can come to my house. No, please don't, Mr. Savage. I love you. I love your work.
Yes, we love your work, Fred Savage.
Yeah.
We really
GoldenEye was made by a bunch of straight out of college students, actually. Then that sort of Rare they hired, and Rare got a hold of the license, and they hired a bunch of new people, and they just set them and they let them go, and they made a very first movie accurate single player game, and then they made the multiplayer game like in their spare time, and they just sort of played it with each other,
Yeah.
and then eventually like one of the suits saw it, was like, why don't you present this? And then they polished it off in like 2 weeks. And then they shipped that like as an afterthought, and that became like the main portion of the game that people loved.
Yeah.
One of the first like 4 split screen sort of experiences that people sort of dealt with.
Which I hated. You know,
You didn't like this? Well, yeah.
Because we would play Halo,
Mhm.
you know, and Halo was you could play a versus, which was like first person shooter type shit.
Yeah,
versus people.
but that was the like I said, 007 for the Nintendo 64 was fantastic because it really was our foray into the first person shooter. It really was our jump into that with the challenges, going up against each other. Sure, the more players you had, the smaller the screen was.
Yeah, but it
You know?
also sucked because you always had that asshole that would look at your square, figure out where you were at.
Screen snipers.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
But
what
that's
a piece of shit, dude. We're all under the fucking, you know.
that's a good moral lesson, though. You could tell the people
You
that
can't
screw you
trust
over.
those people. You know what I'm saying? Like we were all on the honor system. You know what I'm saying? Like
Always
just
been
look at
odd
your
job,
own
and he would always
square.
sneak
All's fair in love and war.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
All's fair in love and war.
So
Even Fred Savage said
I
that.
kind of enjoyed it when it went online, and you know.
I'm gonna read him though. If Fred Savage were ever to come on the show, I will read him the Nintendo Power magazine article, like it was a storybook. Have him sit there on the bed, you know, read it to him from 007.
Mhm.
All right, so let's move forward, man. We have T-7 minutes.
All right,
So,
to get to the rest
you
of
say
gaming. Let's go.
arguably, yeah, rest of gaming. Nothing else matters.
Good.
All right. So yeah, so
what
you
would
had
you
to
say was the
survive.
next leap from Halo?
From Halo 2? Yeah, that's a tough one. Halo was the original Xbox, right? So directly after that, you get into the Xbox 360. I think actually Halo 2. I think that was one of the sort of
Yeah, Halo brought in and made the first person shooter epic. They gave
Sure.
you the epic first person shooter. And then came when they finally did that with the first person shooter, you know, giving it its own epic storyline, the voices in the background, giving it a really solid build. It wasn't just you running around randomly. And of course, with the verses, and that was always great. You know, how many people did you stick with the plasma grenade? You know, how many people, yeah. Or my personal favorite, you know, carry the grenade, but don't throw it, and just run into a whole group and do a suicide bomb.
Mhm.
Take one for the team and blow up whatever point they were guarding it.
Halo 2 was one of the first I remember. I didn't go with the original Halo, but Halo 2 was one of the first where you started getting like sort of ranks, like meta ranks outside of the game, where you got the stars that sort of like, and that sort of sense of like out of game progression was one of the first times where I saw that done and like really hooked you. Like, oh, okay, I am being graded now. It's not like I have a leaderboard that lives on my cartridge. I wear this star and like, oh, I'm only a rank 1. I need to get better, basically. And then you just start playing it over.
And you start going and it does it on the outside. So whenever you join one of the groups, they would show. So of course you were taken out. Of course, Halo 2 also introduced that other thing that, you know, I will only mention, you know, teabagging, a little spot of tea.
Yes. That's probably the first time I had encountered teabagging as a phenomenon.
Yes, that was the things that gamers do when they kill you.
They need a way. They need a way to show dominance.
Yes, you definitely show dominance.
So
Ain't nothing like teabagging an opponent. Yeah.
Me.
So
I just shoot their death crate repeatedly.
No, and that's where it comes in. If I must go back one step to the Nintendo 64, Turok, Dinosaur Hunt. That's what violence was in art.
Wow.
Violence
Turok
was
Dinosaur
art.
Hunter. With the
Violence
fog,
was
the
art.
intense fog, like 10 feet in front of you. And you had
Yes,
to
all the-
use the expansion pack in order to like play it properly.
in order to play it properly.
I
But
love it.
my love of that was if you shot a guy in the head or in that area, they would always bleed out from the neck and stumble around. And when their corpses fell out, nothing quite like throwing the grenades or the big atomic blaster just to see all the bodies dance.
Right on.
Yeah, you could do that in that game. You shot a guy in the neck, and then they would fall down dead. If you rushed right up to him and take your machine gun, your assault rifle, and just peg the body would dance while he was down on the floor.
I remember.
And you laughing maniacally. And everyone in the room, or every lady in the room was in there going, "What is wrong with you?"
This is war.
This is childish.
It's serious.
This is childish. How can you guys play this game?
I was trying to remember my memories of Halo 2, and I realized that I don't have many because I spent most of my college years deep into World of Warcraft for like a good 5 years, I want to say. I lost to WoW.
Wow, you just stepped on that landmine.
We got 3 minutes. We've got to go straight into World of Warcraft.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is what,
Did you ever
that's
did
like
you
a
ever get taken
whole
away
nother-
by the
That
MMOs?
could be an episode on its own.
Oh, the whole multi-mass. Like you get on and you realize you're in a giant world with like
Yeah, I
thousands
mean-
of other people.
By the
All
way,
right, so can we
I'm
talk
still
about
playing Guild Wars
the
2.
best? What?
yes.
Team
By
Fortress
the
2.
way, I'm still playing Guild Wars 2.
Oh, Guild Wars 2. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I 100%ed that, and then I'm like, I'm good.
Can we talk about the best version of Warcraft, the original Warcraft?
The original though?
No.
Yes.
Warcraft 2.
No.
Humans and Orcs. No, the Humans and Orcs is the
No.
first one. Warcraft 2 were like-
Warcraft.
Warcraft original. That had a weird interface. It was very difficult for me to win.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. I love
I
it.
mean, it was the idea of fantasy strategy gaming. You know, it was that, and they did
Top-down
that
RTS.
very well.
For those who don't know, it's the predecessor to
Warcraft 2.
Clash of Clans or whatnot.
Yeah. These days, it's actually the current game I would call it the most predecessor to would be League of Legends or something like your general
Okay,
MOBAs, where like that's where it grew out of, but like this is where you had a troop, basically, not just a single like guy.
Yeah.
I was more of a StarCraft guy. I was super into StarCraft for a bit.
StarCraft was dope. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting off of consoles here, man.
Okay.
Oh,
so
this is a console only.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
console.
console.
Yeah, so yeah,
Unless
we're gonna
it's relevant,
Shanghai
like
you.
Doom, right?
We're gonna Shanghai you.
It was
a
first
bit
person
more there,
shooter.
Ricky.
All right, so we're at the Wii U now, right? We all had a Wii U. We played
Yeah.
it well. We had
Yeah.
Wii Sports and Wii Golf. No,
Yeah. So here
I don't
goes.
think anyone did.
Here he goes. At this point, Nintendo had its competitor, Sega. Then came the Sega Genesis, which is a competitor to,
Your TurboGrafx 16,
to
your
to
Neo
the
Geo.
to the Neo Geo, the Super Nintendo. Yes, back in
None of
those
those really
days,
lasted.
Nintendo did not own Sonic the Hedgehog.
They do now.
That was a competitor. Sonic the Hedgehog was
Mario on
Mario's
cocaine.
arch nemesis.
That was a huge.
the attitude,
You knew
yeah.
kids clicked out based on whether you were a Nintendo guy or whether you were a Sega Genesis guy.
Yeah.
And like,
Yep. You
That
were
was-
I mean, that was some
you
that was
were
some sensory
Sonic.
overload shit, bro. Like
Oh,
because
yeah.
essentially what they did was they took that Super Mario aspect that I was saying earlier, where you would just like hold down the run button and try to race across the levels as fast as you could. Sonic basically was like, yeah, let's do that.
yeah, do
Let's
it.
put
That's the level.
loops and tunnels. Yeah, exactly. Like just run full speed. You know,
Kids these days.
they'll never know the struggle.
But yeah, I never had a Genesis growing up. My friends, it was always my friends that had the Genesis. And I'd go over to their house
Yeah,
and play
I
Sonic
never
and play
had
Mortal
that.
Kombat and all the other various other things.
We were
Oh.
pretty broke, so like whenever consoles would come out, it was like you had to pick one, and that one was
Yes.
your one for a good 5 years,
Yeah.
which sucked because in 5 years you had like 3 or 4 consoles. So like I always jump. You know what I mean?
You went from different. You switched
Oh,
off.
dude, like I never got 64. My boy had 64.
Interesting.
So I went from Atari, like the first Atari, to NES, and then I got Super Nintendo, but late in the game, like after it had been out for a while,
Okay.
and then PlayStation.
Really? Okay, you went PlayStation. Okay.
Yeah,
I went
and then PlayStation, Xbox. So it was like always these huge leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Now, again, Sega was Nintendo's competitor. So if you had Super Nintendo, other people had Sega Genesis.
Mhm.
That all ended when the Dreamcast, which
Sega
essentially
Dreamcast.
became
Really quick, I want to address Ivan's comment.
No
Fuck
problem.
you.
Warcraft.
You
Should have
speak
broke the
your
nerd meter. Yeah.
Warcraft is great. Top-down RTS at its finest.
Well, yeah, but I think what Ivan's talking about isn't Warcraft. He's talking about WoW. He's about World of Warcraft.
I agree. That should break the world.
Yeah, that's gonna break the
But Ivan, you notice I strayed us away from that conversation because I didn't want to execute that.
That's no one wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not trying to blow our full load here.
Yeah, dude.
You got to save it. Yeah.
We're trying to
figure that out,
cater
you
to
gotta
our
figure that out.
audience. You have to remember our audience. Our audience are Padawans of the
We
nerd.
are but shepherds to help them along on their first journey.
Yes.
You are our flock. We will
Sega
guide you.
decided to jump onto the CD game early with the Sega Dreamcast,
Mhm.
Yeah, drink.
which in the end turned out to be a nightmare. Because apart from Ready to Rumble, they really didn't have much.
Nights in the Dreams. They had Gosh, what else was on that thing?
Shit.
The fact that you have to remember says it all.
That's a fair point. Jet Set Radio.
He's trying really hard. He's like, but what about?
Here's the thing: the games
Not
on that
the
were
Nintendo
extremely good,
64.
but yeah, the console was not greatly
Yeah.
marketed for sure.
Now, here we go. At about this time, Nintendo also brought out the Nintendo 64, which had a few solid games in it. The graphics were nice and tight, but again, the whole fog that appeared 10 feet in front of you, plus at this point, the cartridge was outdated technology, as compression allowed you to use disc.
Mhm.
And that's when everything started going to CD and then to DVD. And that's when you finally get the Xbox. At about this point, Microsoft was just behind, Windows.
But Xbox also killed it because of the operating system. They were,
I'm about to go there.
Able to do a lot more. Well, chill the fuck out, man. We're over time, so give us the bullet points there.
All right. So here it comes. For the first time, Microsoft made something that worked. And that's first miracle.
Sure.
Yes, I'm going there.
Windows
Shots
is a
fired.
fluke.
Shots fired. It was an operating system that worked. Not just worked, but worked quite well. Their selection of games was really solid. And like I said, they had solid properties. Again, Halo. What more can you say? That was the game changer. That was the first person shooter of first person.
But it also introduced that versus, like the
whole league fighting.
Shooter, where you could fight your fucking friends. That was
And
dope as shit.
of course, they had the PlayStation to rival it. But as good as the PlayStation was good because of Square Soft, now Square Enix, because of that company, Sony, all that. But without that, the Xbox had the superior library. There's no denying it, especially with the success of Halo leading to the Tom Clancy games. Rainbow Six, easily forgotten. It was like the laser disc. Everyone forgets the razor disc.
I want to take a moment to remark on your hair. It's fucking beautiful.
Point taken.
Fucking amazing. I'm jealous.
What?
I got a ball. Yeah, both of you guys. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
That
you
gene
had
skipped over me.
I've not had a haircut in a year, so that's what this is.
But you can grow hair. Is my point.
Yeah, it's true. It does come in every day.
But look, my head is nothing but cowlicks. So this is the best that I
Same.
can do. I'm sorry.
Same.
You know, I can't cut my hair short because I look like a serial killer.
Yeah, I'm just upset that
or
you
a death
have
row,
hair and you
depending
do
on how we
nothing
want.
with it. That's like a slap to my face, dude.
Everybody's gonna want to look for the tattoo on my face. Am I covering that up with makeup? If I shave my head.
But, all right, let's keep this going, man. All right,
That's why he's so shiny. His
So-
makeup covering up his teardrop.
so what's next? What's the next?
Okay, so then you get the Tom Clancy games. Again, you get the Tom Clancy games, Rainbow Six,
Splinter Cell.
yeah, a Splinter Cell. You get all of them. Tom Clancy was releasing games like mad. Not that he was releasing them, but
So-
the name, the label. You know,
But
who
you don't
imagined
feel-
the guy that wrote The Hunt for Red October and Patriot Games, the guy that wrote
Great
spy
movie.
novels, would
Mhm.
now be a name that you would slap on a video game and it's like, oh, I gotta have it. It's a Tom Clancy game.
Yeah, but you know, I feel like that whole era in games, and I feel like it still goes on to this day a lot. It's like once the quality of video was good enough, and you could put a lot of data into a video game via a disc.
Mhm.
I feel like the gameplay went away. Like I find myself every now and then I'll play a game, right, with my son or something, and it's frustrating because it's literally like walk over there and pick up the key. And you just walk over somewhere, you pick up a key, and it's a 5-minute fucking movie. And it's like, what the fuck am I doing here?
It's some
Like,
cost.
well-
You got the technology. You have to.
Well, they
you have to have it out,
finally,
you have to use
that was
it.
another thing.
But I want to play. It's like, just make a movie. Just
Mhm.
make
That's
a
what-
fucking movie at this point. I'm not playing anything. There's no strategy. I'm not
probably why you
doing anything.
probably didn't like, and notice you didn't mention it at all, because it was a first generation CD console, and then went to the part 2, like the PlayStations. We all know what we're talking about Resident Evil.
Sure.
Yeah, see, I didn't want
game
to say it.
That you
I didn't want to say
played
it.
best. Oh, the puzzles were interesting. The game was good.
It's
but you
terrifying.
really did want to. Yes, it was the horror game.
Now,
But
you know who
let's
did
be
it right? You know who did it right? Tomb Raider.
Nope. Tomb Raider was good.
What?
Well,
Tomb Raider, dog. Tomb Raider, the puzzles, the adventure, the
Yes.
gameplay was
Yes.
there, dude.
The gameplay was there.
And you had little movie segments. Cool.
I like
You
a
know
good
what I
Prince
mean?
of Persia.
No. You're
Like the
talking
Prince of
PS2
Persia was
Tomb Raider
dope.
2.
Prince of
Sands of
Persia
Time?
was dope.
You're talking Tomb Raider 2. But after all the Tomb Raiders after that, they were boring. They just weren't fun.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Or they were tedious. It wasn't until the Tomb Raider reboots that you finally got the good game again. But let's
yeah,
talk
whatever.
With Resident Evil, you played a game to watch the movie. But while Resident Evil did bring in the scares, if you really want to talk about,
Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell, there you go. Splinter Cell was epic. Indeed, it was. The Tom Clancy craze.
Ivan said that the movies were time to rest your fingers.
Yeah, you got to do your stretches while your wrist exercises.
Yeah.
Now, some games were really epic with the movie scenes. Metal Gear, Solid.
Metal Gear.
Anyone?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear.
Now,
Hey,
Solid.
let's go back
The
to the
first
original
Metal
on
Gear
Nintendo. Dog.
was
That shit
Nintendo.
was dope. Yeah, man, that shit was fucking dope.
Hmm.
It was hard. It was hard. You really didn't know what you were doing in the first Metal Gear. There was no plot progression point. You had a lot of what would have been considered open world, but it didn't tell you where to go.
See, I like games like that.
Yeah.
I love figuring out puzzles. I hate being directed, and that's kind of what I'm saying, where it's like, walk over to that room and pick up the key. Like, man, fuck you, dude. Like,
Don't belittle me. Don't talk
tell
down
me
to me.
you're not my father.
Okay.
I hate that shit. Like, just put me in a fucking dark house, and I'll figure it out. I'll figure
With
out what I gotta
zombies
do.
and 5 bullets. And
Thank
let
you.
Me go.
Exactly.
Speaking
Let
of
me
horror
play.
games,
God damn it.
The king of horror
Like,
games.
dude, when
isn't-
you played when you played Super Mario Brothers, nobody told you what to do, right? You went left, and the screen didn't move, so you went right. and the
Yeah.
screen moved.
Unless
And
you play
this
Metroid.
fucking walking
Unless
mushroom
you play
came
Metroid.
towards you, and you're like, "Fuck, that doesn't look like a friend." So you squashed them, right?
Mhm.
You figured shit out.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Speaking of horror games,
Mhm.
well, Resident Evil did have the whole thing, with the horror element, and that's when horror gaming started coming out. But they all had something in common. You were always a super cop. You were always someone heavily armed, a special forces soldier. The game that changed
That's true.
everything. The game that brought true horror, really disturbing imagery that you didn't play by yourself at night.
Nick Kids.
No.
Okay.
Oh, and evil kids were in there too.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps.
No.
Chex Quest.
Silent Hill.
That was
Oh
chill.
shit! Silent Hill. Yes.
Silent
Yes.
Hill. The first game really did have that nightmarish quality, but of course that was PlayStation 1. That was the first Xbox. It was
That
really-
they took advantage of the fog. They took advantage of the very
Yeah,
short
man.
clip
yeah,
distance.
very,
where
yeah. So
you're
that
like-
was going in. So they took advantage of the fog. But then came Silent Hill 2. Let me tell you something. That game was a mind screw. That game really was a mind screw. There was a lot of like really really disturbing images that had, well, let's face it, it had a lot of like really symbolic meaning for the guy. I mean, think about the storyline. The storyline is you're living in San Fran, you're by yourself. Your wife died, and as you're sitting in your apartment, you get mail, and then you finally receive a letter from your dead wife to come to Silent Hill,
Mhm.
where she died. That's why you're in San Fran. You're no longer in Silent Hill. Your wife died. She died of a disease. She died sickly. And now you're going, and of course,
Or
it's her handwriting. You recognize it. It's, everything's there. All the personal stories she wrote in that long letter are there. So what do? You're like, I got to go back. I want to see who wrote this. And you think it's a prank and everything else. And you go into what is a disaster area where Silent Hill used to be. And you're all alone. The fog was great. You walk around with a radio. And when enemies are getting close because the static starts going off.
Static. Yeah, man. That was
Yep.
a really
You're a
good-
regular guy. There's nothing superhuman about you. You don't walk in there with an arsenal. In fact, you start off with just a metal pipe.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's one of the first, like, truly, like, psychological horrors where, like, they put you in a spot and they give you zero tools to find yourself.
Zero tools. You have to find them yourself.
Yeah, it's super spooky. I love a good horror game. Yeah, I just got finished playing Little Nightmares, which is similar, where you're a kid basically, like you're 10 years old. You're going through this like avenue of like terrible monsters, and you have nothing. You have no weapons, right? It's all like jumping puzzles and pushing box puzzles, but more or less hiding from these things that are trying to murder you.
Yeah.
Those are always the best. I like those, not because I like being murdered, but just because it gets at that sort of puzzle solving, mystery solving,
Yeah.
and the only thing that's outside of that is certain death at these really creepy things that are like chasing you, be it Pyramid Head or a giant lady or whatever.
Giant Pyramid Head. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yep.
That was, and it was just, the imagery was just disturbing. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
yeah. Silent Hill 2, the imagery.
Pyramid Head, the faceless nurses, all sorts of.
all stuff like, the movie tried it, but it wasn't the same. It
Not
wasn't
really, no. It did
Yeah,
not
it-
hit the.
They should just copy the plot from. They really should have copied the plot from Silent
All
Hill.
right, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
we have a special guest.
Okay.
Hold on here.
Who we got?
There's, in all fairness, the bad guy in Metal Gear was his brother. I don't know what
That's
that
a good point.
Yep. Metal Gear.
So the father comment doesn't work there.
It's keeping us honest.
Silent Hill and Resident Evil were the same game, different graphics.
No,
Not quite.
not quite.
Gameplay wise, I'll give it to you, but yeah, I agree. Like you're not Jill Valentine. You're not a guy with a gun.
You're not a cop. You're not armed. You're not Silent Hill 2. You're just a regular dude.
You're not stars. That's
You're
not
not
you.
stars. You're not specially trained. You're not coming in there, a cop with a gun. No, you get a metal pipe. So half the enemies one-shot you if you did it wrong.
Very disturbing.
All right,
right,
ladies
who's our
and
guest?
gentlemen, I'm bringing in a guest because as we enter the new game era, right? Where are we at now? Resident Evil, PlayStation-ish.
Resident Evil.
Not really.
Xbox.
Not really, because we were at like we were at
PlayStation,
like
Xbox,
Tom
the new
Clancy's.
rivalry.
Oh, where are we in our talk? Yeah.
No,
We're Xbox
we
360.
were further ahead.
We're PS2.
Yeah, we
at-
came back. We circled
Yeah.
back, but
Circled
we
back.
were at like the Tom Clancy, Call of Duty, right? That's like around
thereabouts. Yeah, Call of Duty I haven't got to yet, but yeah.
Call of Duty, that's another one. Modern
All
Warfare.
right, so I'm waiting for them to come back. They left. They were in the lobby, then they disappeared. But to segue into that. So what we have to understand here, gentlemen, is that we are old.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If we take anything away from this meandering discussion, is that we are very old people.
We are old. I mean, look, to put it in perspective, we were alive when this shit was going on.
Yeah. And that blew our minds.
That was dope. That was dope.
Yeah, we're like,
our TV played things that you could move on the TV with a little
that
thing.
shit was dope, dude. So never mind when we got to that. That was fucking mind blowing.
It was.
yes, it was.
So I mean,
everything was a leap.
yeah, and that's sort of what we've been talking about. Is every so often you have a game that just kind of sets a new standard for what gaming is to become.
Every new console was like a new
And speaking of cinematic games, this is where you have to bring it up. Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
This is the one. That was the one that brought it in, that really got everyone. People who didn't play RPGs played that game. That's the game that put Final Fantasy VII on that put Final Fantasy on the map. Were there better storylines? Yes.
Yes.
There were better storylines. But Final Fantasy VII actually made the promise that the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation told its viewers it wanted to create that emotion engine, get you invested in the characters that you were playing. So when one of them did die, you felt it. It's like, oh my God, this character's dead. That sucks.
Who died? No, I'm joking. Yeah. No, for sure.
All right.
It was. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, man.
I was gonna comment that Final Fantasy VII is one of the because Final Fantasy VI was arguably like a better story, but you're still locked in those 2D sprites. You're still locked in that world, and like Final Fantasy VII, like you took it out, you had these like wide vista shots of like Midgar City and like the Mako engine, like you got the sense of the scope of it, and you got the sense of like these very tiny heroes that are like fighting against this giant empire, and it's terrifying. You got into the characters, you felt when they died. You're terrified of Sephiroth. People are still terrified of Sephiroth to this day. And he looked like Pixels, little triangle man.
Yeah, little triangle man, yeah. Like Pixels.
Yeah.
They did a great job
about Metroid and all those games. That shit was creepy, dude.
Yeah, Metroid.
That shit was
creepy soundtrack.
Yes,
yeah, oh absolutely.
Especially Super Metroid. It really got you in there.
Super Metroid, like I said, man, that was the game for me.
The point here being that we are old as fuck. Okay?
Point taken.
And if we're gonna move forward into games, it only makes sense that we talk to the ones that we're passing the baton to, the young Padawans, if you will,
the youngs,
the new era of gamers, the young, the restless. I bring to you
Logan. What's up, Logan?
For those who don't know, hey, what the shit was that?
Of course, he gone. Wow, just like
a attention span these days, these generations.
Yeah, their attention spans and can't focus on anything for the 5 minutes.
I'm done with this.
What the hell was that?
Okay, on my mouse, there's like a back button on it. Look, there's like a little
way
back.
Way to
and
go.
I clicked it with my ring finger. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my Ute.
Ute?
My
son.
What is
Ute?
No. Yeah, Ute.
My Ute there. He is my carbon copy. My copied file, if you will.
That's true. Copied This is Nelson 2. This is Super Nelson.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is Nelson 2.0.
Nelson 2.0. This is the better version with better graphics.
He likes to go by Logan because he
Okay.
wants a sense of identity.
That makes sense.
But whatever.
I can change my name to Nelson too.
You should.
No, keep Logan. There's a whole thing about that. Keep
Like
Logan.
a 2.0.
Yeah,
Okay.
he actually he goes by Lolo or the Great Logini.
Great Logan. I like that.
Yeah,
He's
great
got
Logan.
presence.
Yeah,
Stage
yeah.
presence.
Yeah.
So what
That's
game
super
are
Logan.
the youngs playing these days? They're playing the Fortnite. They're playing the Roblox, the what have you. My son plays Smash, and actually a lot of Mario Maker. But what do they play?
Yeah, so what's the
Um,
games for you guys?
Usually, like in my opinion, I really really like Minecraft, so I just play Minecraft.
is great.
Yeah, I just play it for endless hours, and
You
then
play it on a server, like a whole bunch of other peeps.
Yeah, there's single player and multiplayer. I play like a lot of different servers, so that way I don't have to like play by myself all the time. And then Fortnite, I don't even know what happened. I just stopped playing Fortnite. I don't really know why.
That's a
I-
great point.
Huh?
Because it sucks.
Yeah.
It
It
once
sucks.
once
PUBG is where it's at, man. PUBG.
PUBG. Wow, this
PUBG
Fortnite
for
has-
life.
a tough. I can't aim in Fortnite for some reason. For whatever reason, I can't.
I'm gonna get PUBG on my PC hopefully.
Nice.
I think Fortnite just died when the new season came out because it really wasn't a good season. I'm trying to think of other games that people play.
Bro, is this the webcam that I have you working with? This is
Yes.
horrible. What
Yeah.
am I doing? Oh, that's horrible.
That's why I said
This is the webcam you give your son.
Oh my god.
The
Oh,
finger's pointed at yourself,
are you?
sir.
I feel ashamed right now.
What sort of father
Oh,
How
am I?
dare you?
Oh my god.
I mean, I guess there is Call of Duty, but the only but people, I don't know why, but people didn't really like Cold War too much. So I don't really play Call of Duty, but I did enjoy like watching the new one, but I didn't really want to buy it. But people, I guess, play Call of Duty too. And then I think those are like the three main games at least. There's a bunch of
FNAF.
like
FNAF.
Five Nights at Freddy's is very very fun.
That's
That's been a while since the last one came out. Like the first two were terrifying.
Now-
and then
No, well, the first two.
and so sorry to interrupt really quick, but I wanted to kind of tie this in because we have about 7 minutes left. But since we're on Five Nights at Freddy, let's just go into
are you gonna jump scare me right now? Is that happening?
No.
Oh, okay. With a virtual boy, that was the true virtual. No, it's not. It's a horrible system that left you blind. Yeah, VR. I've not had too much VR experience. I've played it a couple times. I don't have my rig is not good enough to play VR, so I have not played a lot of Beat Saber or whatever. All the other really cool VR experiences
well, he plays Five Nights at Freddy
in VR.
in
Yeah.
VR.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute Ryu.
Dog, that shit is crazy. I played it.
The
that is
worst-
terrible.
And not that I'm putting Mr. Logini's business out there, but this fool will play it in VR and come into my room, so he's not alone.
I've done that once. I did that once. Once.
Because
It's
you're
scary.
scared. Because
No,
you're scared,
The
bro.
one time, like, I'm perfectly fine with all the other levels. But there's two ones that I am too afraid to do because I'm just gonna have trouble sleeping. Night terrors, where basically what it is it takes place as a child, and you have to run around in the room with a flashlight only, and there's two doors, and you have to keep on going in between each doors, and you have to like shut them and check out the door. I can't do
It's
that
creepy.
one. I don't do that one. I don't know why.
Because it's in your house, and you
Yeah.
see nightmares in your house. You got to shine up. You have to look at it with the flashlight. And the other ones,
Oh,
like, you
man.
can sort of like get rid of.
And
You
then
can hide from Bonnie and like in the thing, but in your house, you got to actually look at this really creepy.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
where the VR comes in. Also, the Alien game.
Alien Isolation, very good.
Yeah, Alien Isolation.
So unfortunately, because we got the Oculus Quest,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I have motion sickness, so I wasn't able to play. I was really looking forward to a game that they have called Population One, which is tying it back to Halo and
Hmm.
Call of Duty and all that. It's a first-person shooter, obviously, and it's a versus and battle royale type thing. Super fucking cool. I just can't play it, man. So anyway,
Because we're very old. We
because
get
I'm old as shit.
we get motion sick now. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I never had that, but
Those old eyes.
shout out to all the PUBG mobile players. If you're on, look me up. We got a clan, yo. 187 regulators, baby. Logan used to be a part of it, but I had to kick him out because he kept playing solo. So
That's how you gotta play.
Everyone
what it
has
is.
a John Wayne on their team. Let him
Yeah.
play solo.
nah,
Let him be
dude.
lone wolf.
Nah, squad up, baby.
I'm usually not like I usually don't like if I was to per se play Fortnite, I'm usually not the person who like goes off solo. Usually what I do
Yes, you are.
That's
no,
me.
no, no. So like if I join a squad with like all my friends and stuff, like we really don't really care about getting the win. So we'll just like joke around all the time, and then when a player's here, we're just like, all
That's
right, yeah,
crazy.
let's kill him.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to like the.
I failed you, my son.
I'm sorry.
It's all
And then,
about
like-
winning.
No, my son does the same thing. I'll play. He'll tag me in to play with his friends, and then they'll kind of go and like try to do something impossible. It's like we're gonna take over this entire boat by ourselves. And I'm like, guys,
Oh my
this
God.
isn't tactically sound.
Dude,
Like,
we
yeah,
have
whatever.
we have a player. We have a player in our clan that does that, and he drives everyone insane with that shit.
Yes, let's go take
Like-
over the authority right in the middle of the map.
Dude, like
you can't
Whoa.
do that, man.
we'll be in the middle of a match. We got a crate dropping, and he jumps in the helicopter and tries to get the crate on top of the propeller. It's like, dog, this is an in and out operation, bro. Like it hits the ground, we grab the shit, we get the fuck out. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
You're sabotaging the mission. What are you doing?
Dude. So he just
You
drives
know-
everybody crazy. It's
Well,
hilarious.
this goes into a very specific type of player, and I almost can't fault them for this because it's the one thing that people seem to forget about video games. The whole point of them is to have fun. So my shout out
Uh,
to all the Leroy Jenkins out there,
Leroy!
to all the Leroy Jenkins out there
Jenkins!
who get it.
Very old.
They get it. They get it. It's not
Wait
about.
a second. Leroy Jenkins was not trying to have fun. Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, he
thought-
was.
Leroy Jenkins thought he was about to do some shit.
And he almost did. He almost
almost did.
Almost did. You
Pull
do
that
need that player. We have a player
Well-
named Clyce Eastwood.
Okay.
Dog, that's that player. Like that motherfucker beelines it into the fucking house. Which when in retrospect is genius, right? Because whoever's held up in that house and is watching the windows
It's not
is
expecting
not
that.
expecting a motherfucker to beeline it through the front door and just start shotgunning motherfuckers. You know
He's
what
the
I'm
he's the
saying?
Murdoch.
That's
You're
the whole
crazy.
point.
You're wild.
Yeah, the
Well,
Murdoch.
that was your whole point. You went out guns blazing.
Yes, Joe.
For those who have not seen the classic YouTube video, by the way, it was one of Late Night with Conan O'Brien's favorite YouTube videos. For those who ever watched Conan O'Brien, yes, it was a bunch of geeks in there playing World of Warcraft,
They're on a raid.
going on a raid, wondering if not they needed to go into that extra room because
No.
Leroy needed an item from there.
But
The first
mind you,
5 minutes
hold
is
on,
a bunch
mind
of
you-
geeks.
Yeah,
Huh.
go ahead.
The first 5 minutes of the video, you have to sit through it to get it and understand what's going on.
Look it up.
It's just a bunch of geeks just sitting there number crunching and trying to figure out, okay, if we do this, what are our chances? Yeah, let me dig up some numbers. 33.03, that's usually better than what we usually get going in that room.
Repeating, of course.
And they sat there repeating, of course. And they're sitting there talking about
Oh.
odds and numbers.
Solid 5
and
minutes
everything.
of this shit.
Yeah, solid. And finally, the guy just gets up. He says, "All right, time's
No,
up.
no, no. Wait,
Let's
wait.
do this."
Wait. No, no. Because he was interviewed afterwards. What happened was he stepped away from the computer.
yeah, he just
So-
can't. He missed the entire
He
thing.
wasn't
He
a
missed
part
it.
of any of that. He
Oh,
literally
good
like
Lord.
came back in the room, put his headphones on, and was like, "All right, let's go, Leroy Jenkins." And stormed
said-
the
he
fucking
said-
room.
He said, "All right, time's up. Let's do this." Leroy Jagger.
Dog, and when
And
he runs
goes right
in,
in there.
everyone else is like, "Oh shit, okay, we're going in," and there's just no game plan.
And they all die is the end of that video.
Pretty much.
They're all screaming, "Stick to the plan, stick to the plan." Oh, I can't heal. They're all sitting there getting slaughtered. But it's well and understood. What made that video famous is that's what you're supposed to do in a video game. Not sit there and crunch numbers and try to figure out your chances. Go in, guns blazing, have fun.
It's funny because Logan's here, and this is something that I've told Logan time and time again is if he's gonna get frustrated with games or they're gonna piss him off, then he's just not gonna play, right, Logan? Yes. I mean that is the point of video games.
You take a break and you come back, do it later.
If they don't make you happy, turn it off. If you're getting pissed off, turn that shit off. That's not the intention of a game.
Yeah, that's why I switched to Guild Wars 2 for a while.
You got a lot of training wheels. You gotta go. Instances aren't as strict.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
they got jumping puzzles.
All
right,
Logan,
talk about.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Logan. So, what do you think? What's a newer game, like cutting edge,
like a
that you want?
That I want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's literally like millions of games. If I were to do one from the top of my head, it would probably.
They're all $50 a pop, so that's really
60. We moved the price point up.
Wow, I haven't heard of $60 on the game since.
So let's narrow it down. So out of the million, let's narrow it down to like one.
Okay. There's two that I would go for.
One, boy.
Okay.
Fall Guys.
Probably. Well, Fall Guys died very, very quickly.
It's still around.
It is still around. I'd probably go with Halo Master Chief Collection.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Bringing it back.
It's that's like buying the whole collection. Frank Sinatra, just got to get the whole every song in there.
All the classics. Sure.
All the classics.
Yeah.
Logan, have you ever heard of Skyrim?
Skyrim. I've heard.
Is that an album?
I heard the name somewhere, but I don't know what it is.
Elder Scrolls.
I don't know
Elder Scrolls.
what it is.
It's not. It's a footnote now.
The young. You youngins.
I remember I was scrolling through YouTube comments in a video, and I saw this guy say something about Skyrim, and I was like, "What's Skyrim?" And then I was very, very tired and didn't look it up, and I forgot about it the next day.
Perfect.
And
Job's done. So I need
Job's
to
do. Done. Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2 is good.
Yeah, it's solid.
Mr. Lolo.
End of Dragons. I'm
this
waiting for that to come
Ricardo is one of the people responsible for that game.
Yes, I did program
and responsible for Fallout 3.
Fallout 3, Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76.
I would actually
76.
And our up-and-coming
Starfield.
Huh?
Have you heard of Fallout?
Oh yeah, I really, really want to get Fallout. Fallout's
very good.
Game.
It's a very good game.
Actually,
what is that?
Oh yeah, I've seen it before. I've watched a bunch of trailers.
Right on. He seems very unimpressed by you, Ricardo.
I'm also a father of.
He's like, oh, cool.
A young boy. He's like, he's not impressed. Like, he comes down, he sees me working.
There's a meme.
You make the games, but you're not like a streamer. You don't play the game.
I'm not Ninja. Yeah. I'm not Tap Man. I'm not. Cool.
There's a meme for this. There's a meme for this. It shows the lead guitarist for Slayer, right? For those who are into your metal, Slayer. He's given the sign,
the horns,
the horns, man. Giving the sign, tongue out, like that. And you see his teenage daughter, her eyes rolling. Yes,
it's true.
You could be the lead guitarist for Slayer. Your teenage daughter still thinks you're lame.
Yeah,
as it should be. Because eventually they have to take the baton. We can't still be cool. They'll never move out from Run the Russian.
That's a good point. I never looked at it that way.
Mm-hmm. We have to be lame so that they can be not lame.
It's true.
That's our gift and our curse.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm too sarcastic.
All right, so
I'm too sarcastic.
let's wrap this up. Well, first of
Okay.
all, we're past the. I've been drinking, so
Yeah.
I forget what's that called in sports? Overtime.
Overtime. We're in overtime.
We're past overtime.
It's a sports ball reference.
I give myself half an hour of overtime, and now we're
still-
5 minutes over overtime.
You can't
All right.
just talk about gaming consoles and want to
I
do a short
know it was so
conversation.
hard. I didn't know how to format.
We got pretty far.
Yeah,
we
we
did.
got pretty far.
I think we hit a lot of nostalgia. We hit a lot of games, a lot of groundbreaking games, a lot of anyway. But so virtual reality is our newest shit.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky, do you think that's a fad, or is that the next wave?
I think ultimately it's gonna find its niche. Like, we have enough technology around where you can, like, previously with virtual reality, unless you had like super duper great rig, and that's sort of where it is now, unless you have a super good PC rig, you can't really run it at speed, and the library is not there. But now with consoles getting in the mix, you can get an Oculus, you can get PS4 VR, you can get a Vive. Now all that needs to sort of fill in the gap is getting that game library, getting a bunch of really good VR games, and they're starting to pop up. I don't think you're always going to have the console experience. You're always going to have PC games, and that's always going to be the main part of the market, I think. But there is going to be a niche for VR. Like, there's some games you can already do in VR, like stuff like Beat Saber, stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's in VR, which is just terrifying because you're in it. And
Right.
yeah, I think there's a future for it, but there ultimately will always be this sort of console experience where you're in front of your TV and you're playing it.
Anything
Or
like that,
or
that
your
deals-
phone.
Or your phone. You're
Or your
streaming.
phone.
You're doing Stadia. You're
AR.
streaming.
I
second
wish
screen
more
VR.
consoles were like that, though. Kind of how like the Nintendo Wii is. I wish I could take.
Oh, the Wii U, where you have it second
Yeah.
screen, and
Yeah, I wish I could just take it with me. Like, I don't have time to sit
You have
in
a-
front of a
You
console.
have a 3DS.
It's
You have a Game
coming.
Gear. Where's your Game Gear? Where's your four
I don't have
AA
any of that.
batteries?
It's
Dude, I'm
coming.
not a gamer. I play one game,
One
PUBG
game
Mobile.
and Candy Crush.
It's coming. It's coming. You've
Not
got
even Candy
Steam.
Crush.
You've got your Steam. You've got your Nvidia Now.
I tried.
Um,
I did. I was playing. Logan, what's that game I was playing on PC?
What's
Daisy?
that one game?
Daisy?
Daisy, Arma,
Daisy.
Arma 2.
And it was. You know what the thing about Daisy is? It's too realistic.
Hard.
Too
Like, just
realistic.
too realistic. It was like I jumped off a fucking ladder and apparently I hurt my ankle.
That's what happens. Have
And
you
then,
tried jumping off the ladder?
I don't want to worry about that. I want to fucking worry about fucking collecting weapons and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People go one of two ways. They either remove challenge when they go into their fantasy realms, or they introduce challenge because they don't feel it. So
Too much. That's too much, dude.
Yeah.
Like, if I can catch pneumonia, like, nah.
it's Oregon Trail, getting dysentery. You gotta
Dude.
gather in resources.
You know what it is? It's just
You know what would be really cool?
Hmm.
Augmented reality. As
Sure,
far as first person shooter games go, I think that would be the coolest shit. That would get people off the couch and exercising. Like, if I could go outside, with my friends and sort of like laser tag in augmented
You can
reality.
play laser tag.
They do have
No,
that.
but augmented, like, no, my dude. Because with laser tag, it's like I don't get to see blood spewing out of them, right? But with augmented reality, I could throw grenades and it would calculate how far I'm throwing it, and I could see it.
Well, they do have
and it would
that.
blow up, and
They have that. They just don't have it violent, like ultra violent. They do have AR laser tag type of games. And you use there's one particular game company where you actually use your mobile device for it. That's that your mobile device's GPS
Send me a link.
is what
that
logs
sounds
you
amazing.
It's called
I'm at
to
the
that
point-
game.
I just bought a bunch of airsoft shit, so that's where I'm headed right now. Yeah, man. I love battle royales so much. I'm like, dude, I think I just need.
Why can't I live in a real battle royale?
I might join the military at this point.
Sure.
You're too
Well,
old.
they're looking for 40-year-olds. They're really
No.
hiring
Awesome.
up.
A 5'2", 160-pound.
You're
Welcome
not
to
going
They're
to
America.
war.
desperate. They're desperate right now. They're desperate.
You're not going to war.
Anyway, man, we are way over. Thank you, Logan. Thank you for wanting me. I appreciate
This was a good perspective. Yes, thank you.
that. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Ricky, for coming. Seriously.
If there's a part 2 to this, if you ever want to get past the PS3 let me know.
We have to have a part 2. Are you
We
kidding me?
have to.
We're an
Look how
hour
rich-
and 40 minutes.
into this. We haven't even scratched the surface.
See, and here's the thing. I was going to do this just on Nintendo, which I think, in retrospect,
that
might
probably
have
would have been
worked
smarter.
better.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done, and then just had another episode for like
On
Super
Sega,
Nintendo.
then have another
Yes,
episode on
like that,
this.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. Everybody, look, ignore this like you would Batman 3,
Batman versus
4,
Superman?
5, and we're just gonna go straight into the Christopher Nolan. That's basically what you're gonna do with this episode.
All right.
But thank you everybody for tuning in, and until the next time, like I said, I'm putting on the outro. Feel free to hang around. But
Right on.
here we go. Oh yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Do
Like,
all
rate,
that
subscribe.
kind of stuff.
Smash that like and subscribe button.
Smash that like button, but please share because we have like 2 fucking viewers and like maybe 3 subscribers or whatnot. Help our community grow and
Yep.
join the group on Facebook. I put up a lot of cool shit, little factoids.
Yeah, we should start doing more on rumors and articles and predictions.
Well, so that's the original. Anyway, let me put on the outro. We'll talk about it. Later, Gators.